And also in Washington is Al Jazeera's Daniel Lack. And Daniel, we know the president is, as we speak, right now in the skies on his way back to the White House. This most pressing issue, though, is definitely the budgets and the economy and this fiscal cliff.
It's almost as if an election hadn't taken place. This was the issue that was dominating things as we were in the thick of the campaign as well. The fiscal cliff, very dramatic name. It can't really be overstated how serious this is. Rob Reynolds was talking about $600 billion in tax cuts and spending being taken out of the economy, out of the U.S. economy. It's going to affect this country. It's also going to affect people around the world. G8 finance ministers have been talking about just how serious this is and hoping that President Obama or whomever was going to be the president when they made the comments, because that was before last night's election, can actually reach a deal with Congress. That is the number one item in his in-tray, along with a whole array of others. But he's already reaching out to Congress, calling congressional leaders, and seeing if they can get started on the type of substantive negotiations that might see this thing settled.
Yeah, Daniel, it was interesting, wasn't it? Because Mitt Romney, in his concession speech, talked about trying to avoid all this partisan bickering. He talked about reaching out across the aisle. Is it likely, though, that Republicans in Congress are going to give President Obama some cooperation, some compromise?
Well, what we're hearing from Republican leaders so far since the election results were announced is, look, yes, the president does have a mandate. He's been reelected, but we have a mandate too, we in the Republican Party, because we are holding the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives, there's a Republican majority and has been since 2010. And that's one of the reasons that this fiscal cliff exists. The White House wasn't able to negotiate with the House of Representatives Republican majority any sort of a compromise on tax cuts and spending, government spending. The Republicans want to rein in Medicare spending and other entitlements, and they really don't want any taxes raised. President Obama has said perhaps some taxes will have to be raised, especially on the wealthiest. Well, we heard today from John Boehner, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He sounded conciliatory. His tone was reaching out to the president, but at the same time, he repeated those lines. No tax cuts, reform of taxes perhaps, some form of eliminating loopholes, but no tax cuts, and let's look at getting rid of some of these entitlements, or at least curbing the entitlements that the American people are depending on: Social Security, Medicare, and so forth, making them more efficient. So there's a long negotiation ahead. We're going to have to wait and see, and there are only 56 days to get this one done before the end of the year, when the fiscal cliff is looming.
All right, Daniel Lack in Washington, D.C. Thanks so much.